Tsunoda's 2023 season has just been completely flipped on its head. It's an epic lineup between the veteran, Ricciardo, and the youngest at Alpha Tauri for the rest of 2023. However, there is a stark reality facing the new teammates as they battle over the 12 Grand Prix that will make or break their respective futures. For one, Daniel Ricciardo has nothing to lose and everything to gain, while Tsunoda has everything to lose and nothing to gain. So will Ricciardo end Tsunoda's career in the Grand Prix, or will it be vice versa? It might not get much attention on the world feed because the slowest car in the grid is rarely shown unless the leader passes it or there's a mistake. But the fight between Ricciardo and Tsunoda is a fascinating storyline to follow as F1 races towards Abu Dhabi. First, let's talk about Ricciardo and the problems he faces. Here's a driver who wants to get back into the Red Bull seat he should have never left when he moved from Milton Keynes to Enstone and Renault for 2019. Ricciardo had previously said that he would move to the middle teams when he lost his McLaren seat in 2022. However, he realized that he needed to replace the struggling Nick de Vries to keep Liam Lawson, the latest Red Bull Junior driver, in his place and away from the seat next to Tsunoda. In doing so, he and Helmut Marko lit a fire under Sergio Perez's rear end to get him to start improving his performance, stop failing in qualifying, and start making it to Q3 after going 5 races without reaching that most basic goal for a healthy Red Bull. Ricciardo needs to beat Tsunoda so badly that it's clear he's ready to get back in the front of Grand Prix racing, while also showing that Tsunoda is not good enough to be considered for a promotion. This will be challenging in a car that has struggled with corner entry and through the mid-corner phase of the entirety of the 2023 season and was a significant contributor to Ricciardo's misery at McLaren. Tsunoda has had at least a year and a half to get used to how the Alpha Tauri acts during the ground effects age and figure out how to get the best out of it. Even though he only has 2 points finishes in 2023, Tsunoda has 3 11th place results and has improved since Pierre Gasly left for Alpine. Ricciardo won't find it easy to get along with him, but the Australian must find a way. The 8-time Grand Prix winner has no chance of driving with Max Verstappen again if he can't beat Tsunoda easily. As for Tsunoda, his goal is to show that he can be the leader of a team and beat a much more experienced partner. But it will rest on Ricciardo's performance at the Hungarian Grand Prix. If Ricciardo spent the second half of 2022 looking sad and lost, then Tsunoda must show no pity and be as cruel and cold as all the greats, including Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. If the daring Ricciardo of 2014-16 comes back, and if Tsunoda can be slightly ahead or show a clean pair of heels, his stock will rise a lot and show Marko and Red Bull that Ricciardo is not the one who needs to replace Perez. It will show that Tsunoda is a good option, and another F1 team might pick him up if his career at Alpha Tauri gets stuck in limbo like Gasly's did when he couldn't move up to the senior team for some reason. It would also be the end of Ricciardo's career since his resume shows that he can easily beat the best that Tsunoda can throw at him. No one else will touch Ricciardo if he loses to Tsunoda by any amount. If Ricciardo wins, Tsunoda's F1 career will end if he doesn't like sticking at Alpha Tauri and bouncing around the middle of the pack. Daniel Ricciardo may be all smiles about his return to Formula 1 racing, but when he hits the track in Hungary, he will get a rude awakening. For his comeback, he won't be driving a race-winning RB19, as he did during this week's tire test at Silverstone. Instead, he'll be driving a car that has put Alpha Tauri at the bottom of the constructors' rankings. But that's not the worst part. The Australian will also have to deal with a major flaw in the AT04 that is in the same area where he had so much trouble during his 2 years at McLaren. Ricciardo is known for being a person who likes cars that are strong when they stop and turn. If you give him something that does those things well, his talent shines through, as we have seen many times with his signature late-braking overtaking moves. But as the time with McLaren showed, things can quickly get out of hand if the car he's driving doesn't give him the confidence he needs on turn entry. Last year, he told the F1 show Beyond the Grid about the problem with entering corners. It all starts there. If you have trouble with a corner on the way out, it's usually because of something that happened through the corner that put you in, let's say, a difficult situation on the way out. Most problems start at the front door, though not all of them. So it might not be good for Ricciardo to know that one of the big problems that Yuki Tsunoda and Nick de Vries have had this year is that they have trouble entering corners late, which makes the back end unstable. It doesn't give drivers a lot of trust. Before the choice about Ricciardo was made, Alpha Tauri's head of trackside engineering, Jonathan Eddles, talked openly about this important problem that the team was trying to solve. "We've been working on the late entry, or rear instability, which was the biggest weakness," he said. "We have made it better, but I would say it's still a weakness. The problem with Alpha Tauri seems to be that when the car slows down a lot, the rear ride height goes up as the downforce goes away. The result is a change in the way the air moves. Jody Egginton, the technical director, said earlier this year, "That's one of the goals we didn't quite hit in preseason. But we knew what we wanted to do. We wanted, in a very basic way, to improve backload at high rear ride heights. And right now, our imbalance is caused by the load drop-off at these ride heights. If we've made the rear load on the entry pass better, you'll have more stability if you have more backload. We're trying to keep that going further into the corner so the driver can push harder toward the late entry peak." Edel says that if there's a problem in one part of a lap, it can spread to other parts. This is because the current generation of ground effect cars is hard to set up in a way that can handle different turn speeds. If you try to fix the late entry, which is a weakness, you end up making other parts of the car slower, he said. For example, let's say you wanted to add air balance for high speed, which makes the balance better but gives you more load. If your low speed starts too slow, you might not be able to add as much flap or aero balance. So a weakness in one area can have effects in other areas as well. We're obviously trying to find a middle ground that gives us the best lap time around the world, but that's really the trade-off we make every week. Alpha Tauri made a lot of changes in the British GP that were meant to make this place better, but Tsunoda didn't think they were great. But work keeps going on, and Edel said that it will probably take a while for the team to figure out how to get the best results. He said, "When you change aero development, there's a kind of inertia, and it takes time for those parts to get to the car. But now that the target was changed, we should start to see the effects in that part of the map." How well Ricciardo does for the rest of the season may depend on how quickly Alpha Tauri can get on top of it. But the Australian may think that because he has had a bad experience with turn entry at McLaren, he knows what needs to be done to fix things this time. As the 2023 Formula One season nears its end, the battle between Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda at Alpha Tauri intensifies. The stakes are high for both drivers, as their careers hang in the balance. Ricciardo's comeback is met with the challenge of a struggling car, while Tsunoda aims to improve himself as a team leader. The outcome of this duel will define their futures in the sport, making it a captivating storyline to follow as F1 races towards Abu Dhabi. Stay tuned to see who emerges victorious in this critical clash on the track.